And now, another exciting episode of As the River Churns.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday afternoon. Feels like we're kind of getting back to normal, right?
Yeah,
We're
live.
And we're
not
live.
Zoom, yeah.
And we're not zooming in. Ken,
No.
I'm not sure. I didn't recognize you when I first came in. I was looking for that long face that you had on last week. So,
You're normal. Well,
yeah.
we know what we mean.
In the physical appearance.
Yes.
Well, so Ken, I understand you were getting a few comments about last Friday's show.
Yes, people thought it was just very usual,
They thought you as a cat was normal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah, that works.
Yep. Nobody even noticed anything, I don't think.
I have to admit, that was fun to do.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was different
Yes.
for sure, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Doing the show from my home was really weird.
Strange,
to be
I bet.
honest with you. It was very strange, but
And we rehearsed so long.
yeah, like we do for all of our shows, right?
Rehearsal?
Michelle's like, "Where have you guys been? It's 2:59." So, yes, it's like we're at least 30 seconds early today, right?
Exactly.
Now, if our show's getting back to normal, that means other things might get back to normal one
A little
day.
foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. That's good.
So, and this is my first day back officially.
Yes.
I had mentioned this I think last week, but being quarantined at home, it was a real experience, and after having to handle a lot more of the family situations that were coming up, I am really happy to be back at work today. I can tell you that it's really been quite nice coming back here.
Carol Allen sent me a thing that said, "The more I'm stuck at home, the more homeless I look."
Well, there's some truth to that.
It really is. Sweatpants, the whole bit.
Oh, yeah. So I was wearing my River Landing shirt, I think, last week, but I had on sweatpants, and I just think about bare socks, and,
And nobody knows.
Yeah,
All you see is from here on up.
right? It's just like, the TV people, when they're on TV,
Right.
sometimes they have the shirt and the tie and all on.
Right.
And they're wearing shorts
And they're more
underneath.
casual. Yep.
Because you can't see that. And so,
That's
anyway.
true.
All that to say that I'm glad to be back. And,
We're glad you're back.
I think you all might be happy to notice. I don't mind sharing this. I had another COVID test done just to make sure,
Yep.
and I was negative again.
Yep.
So again, and my daughter was too, by the way, which was really
Oh.
huge because it's my daughter's boyfriend was the one that ended up being positive that caused all of us to go into quarantine. But I think it was a great test case on the vaccine because we had all had the vaccine about almost 4 weeks before or after we'd had the first shot, and none of us have gotten it at this point.
Yep.
So, and he's fully recovered and back to normal, and so.
That's good. It's very promising.
Years
Yes.
before COVID, I was telling my daughter to stay socially distant from her boyfriends.
Yeah, how'd that go?
I don't know. She never got COVID.
Well, that's a good sign.
Oh, gosh.
I told everybody else, if it had been my wife that had been positive, I wouldn't have worried about getting it at this point,
You teed that one up. I'm not saying a thing.
Oh, my goodness.
But it is nice was a nice little test case for
Yeah.
us. And,
Yeah.
it's Lisa, we've been talking about this. As we get further from the second vaccination shot that we all had, it's been 2 weekends in a row now.
Yeah.
Other than my little fiasco with home,
Right.
we have had this
Zero.
many incidents of COVID-related
Yes,
things in
yes.
the last 2 weekends.
Absolutely.
And we had, prior to that, we were every Saturday, every Friday
Pretty
night,
much,
Saturday and
right.
Sunday.
Dealing
we were
with
getting calls.
something
We were
related
talking about
to-
somebody or
yes.
something.
Yep.
So hopefully we're there.
Yep.
Hopefully this is going to really be more of the norm now. And so
We should celebrate. Can we open this?
Yes, we
should.
should.
we should have brought 2 bottles down.
Nobody-
Crack it open.
Nobody will care, right?
Oh. It's a twist cap,
Twist
Michelle
yeah.
said.
They
We're
wouldn't
good.
notice if there's this much missing.
Is that really a twist cap?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I'll be darned. Okay.
It's that high price wine, the twist cap.
It's blue quail. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, okay.
No.
So, Lisa, do we have a trivia question for today?
We do.
Okay.
Trivia question today is also from Dick Witt. He gave us that really good one last week, and
yeah.
this one looks really good too. So the prize today, of course, is a bottle of wine. You're going to call Michelle at 336-389-4103. And the question is, what musical instrument did Sherlock Holmes play? What musical instrument did Sherlock Holmes play? And Michelle knew the answer immediately.
She did.
She did.
Yeah.
So the line is open.
She's a amateur detective, so I'm not surprised she knows that.
Oh, she's running out of the room.
Okay, so we're gonna have
We'll
somebody
see.
that's a winner here.
I think
before
we'll
we
have
get
a winner.
started, so.
I'm almost positive it was the juice harp, but
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it was.
I don't think so, but
No.
I had to look it up because I don't know the answer to that one.
Yep,
So.
I didn't either.
Okay, so let's go over the coronavirus statistics.
Yes.
So again, this is like a broken record, I know, but we get all of our information from North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. They have a dashboard that we go to, and it's got a tremendous amount of information. I don't have a lot of extra information today. I just pretty much stayed to the standard, part of which because I just didn't have a chance to be able to get to do much analysis more than what the typical stuff was. But in the last 5 days, because remember Friday was our last one, so it's in the last 5 days, 209,935 completed tests have been done. That's about 42,000 a day. So that number has come down a little bit, hasn't it?
Right.
Out of that 209,935, 14,913 positives. Ooh. So that's 7.1%. So that's really
that's
good.
good.
We were at 7.7 last week, and
Right.
I thought, you know what, I don't know how far we're going to go with this, right? But, would love to see us as a state get down to below 5%. So
Yep.
we've made some really great strides in the last few weeks. So hopefully that'll be a trend to continue. So we'll see. Hospitalizations, that came down again from last week to this week. It's 1,954 as of today that are currently hospitalized. That's 197 less than last week. So again, we're seeing that downward trend.
Sure.
That's really good because we don't want our hospitals to fill up.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's not good when our hospitals are filling up. So, and that'll also help us come out of that red category that the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services has for each of the counties. In fact, I think we're already out of red. I think we're on orange right now here for Guilford County. So that's a good trend. Unfortunately, we had 294 additional deaths from last Friday to today. That's a total of 10,670 deaths since COVID started that are attributable to COVID. And, we've been hearing some things about how that really is calculated and not calculated. And, if people have a diagnosis of COVID and they pass away, even if they didn't pass away from COVID, they're listed as a COVID death.
Right. But it doesn't necessarily
Doesn't mean that they actually
it was
died from COVID.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's a little, I won't say it's misleading, it's just a little confusing.
Right.
So to know how accurate that is. But nonetheless, there's still 10,670 lives that have been lost, attributable in some way to COVID. And then when you break it down and start looking at our counties, again, the big statistic I like to look at is that 14-day average rate per 100,000 residents. And so we saw again this week, I'm really happy, we saw a trend downward again. So just some examples. Wake was at 589 last week. They're 438 this week. That was a big drop. Mecklenburg went from 633 last week to 501 this week. Forsyth went from 705 to 587, and Guilford went from 628 last week to 468 this week.
all right, Guilford County.
Yeah.
I know,
So
that's good.
that's really good. So hopefully this downward trend will continue for us, and so that would be really great. When we look at the congregate living settings, which is of course what we're a part of, nursing homes and retirement communities, 48,245 of the 829,507 cases so far from COVID are from nursing homes and retirement communities. That's 5.8%. We've been at 5.8% for quite a while now. It's almost, you can almost kind of guarantee that that's the statistic. 4,714 of the 10,670 deaths have come from nursing homes and retirement communities in congregate living settings. That's 44.2%. So, it went down a little bit again this time, and I guess that's still a reflection of what's going on outside of our communities. And I'm expecting this percentage to keep dropping dramatically because, these are the areas that the federal program has been targeting, which is why we got our vaccines here. Nursing homes and retirement communities across the state have been in the same boat we have as far as getting them. So I'm hoping and praying that we're going to see that even trend downward. Number of outbreaks dropped again this week. They dropped by a ton. It dropped by 6. We're at 672 across the state. But remember, it only takes one person now for it to be considered an outbreak mode. And so, which I don't really consider one person to be an outbreak. But, the state has its designations and the way they do it. And I'm sure they've got a method to their madness. But it seems a little far-fetched to say that it's an outbreak when you have just one person that kind of tests positive. But
I know when I was a teenager, I had one pimple. I considered it an outbreak.
Did you really?
Yeah,
okay, all right. Now, see, I wouldn't have thought that was an outbreak. So
if I had a date,
outbreak,
but that was pretty rare.
Outbreak's got a little bit of a scary connotation.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
When you hear outbreak.
There was a movie about something like that.
It was a virus thing, right?
Yeah.
And then the last statistic that we try and pull off the website is the number of vaccinations that have been administered in the state of North Carolina. And so far through today, 1,882,628 doses have been administered. That's $250,000 more vaccinations from last week to this week.
That's great.
That's a nice trend.
Yes.
And so Guilford went up about 10,000 vaccinations between last week and this week. So, that federal program, a lot of the 1.8 million that have been administered have come from the nursing homes, retirement communities, and hospitals. That's been the targeted group. And, we know that the 75-plus folks now also are getting it. 65-plus, I think, are coming.
Right, yep.
It's just a matter of trying to get the vaccinations out to the providers and get people through it. So we'll see. But it's nice to sit here and talk about that we're trending downward now, and I just hope that we can continue that as we go forward here.
Absolutely.
And we're testing staff once a week. As I think we mentioned Friday, because we already had that statistic on Friday. We mentioned Friday that last week's testing resulted in no
positives.
No positives, residents or staff.
Yep.
So that's
and they
good.
tested yesterday, so we won't know the results probably until
we
tomorrow.
won't know probably tonight or tomorrow morning, something like that. So
we'll let you all know once we have those results.
Yeah. So like I said, let's just hope and pray it continues to go this way.
Absolutely.
Because it's one thing, and we'll talk about this more when we get into the plans for the future here, near future, in regards to kind of doing some reopening. But, it's one thing to think about what we've got here in our little protective bubble versus what's outside in the real world outside of River Landing. And we got to, we almost have to change our hats when we're thinking about it. Because when we have to have one hat on when we talk about River Landing and have to have another hat on when we're talking about everything outside of here. So, and outside of here, you still need to be very extra careful. And even with the vaccines, we just need to be careful.
Right.
Don't put yourself in situations that you don't need to put yourself into. So, okay, so let's see.
Well, before we get into our plan, because our questions today, pretty much all the questions I received are, Tom, when are we going to reopen, and what are we going to reopen?
Yeah.
So we've just made one big question, and we'll address all that in just a minute.
Yes.
But
the
it's
answer's going to
important.
be, we'll have to tell you next week. No, I'm teasing.
We're going to share some things.
We're going to share some of the things today.
Yes.
So we're still working on that, though. And I think
are.
we need to be clear about that part of it, that this is still a work in progress at this
Absolutely.
point. But we'll share some of the things that we feel pretty comfortable with that we're going to be able to start.
Absolutely.
So.
But before we get to that, we have some inclement weather that really is probably coming our way, right?
Yeah.
We just don't know how bad.
You just don't know.
So-
And it's the hard part is it's not snow, which we could deal with. It's ice. And, we saw what ice did to us this past weekend.
Yeah.
I actually lost power 3 different times
Yep.
with ice this past weekend. And, this could even be more of a significant ice event
Right.
than what we
Right.
had this past weekend. And so,
And there were a lot of trees down this past weekend as
Yeah.
well. We're pretty fortunate here.
yeah,
I think we had some flickers with lights, but overall, we were good here.
yeah,
But just prepping for that tomorrow, it could be a different story.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, our the good thing is, and for our new residents, I'm just going to be very honest with you and tell you what the result of power outage would mean. So for our independent living residents that are in the original apartments here, in this complex here that we're sitting in right now, we have our backup generator can actually service those residents, and they will have pretty much full power in their apartments. Unfortunately for the cottages and for the hybrid units, the hybrid unit does have a backup generator, but the hybrid unit
For
only handles
limited.
mostly the common areas that's
Right,
there.
right.
It's not for the actual apartments. And the cottages, I'm sorry to say, we do not have generators for your cottages. So, we'll do our best to try and work with Duke Power to try and get power restored if power does go out to the
Right.
area. But, with potential for significant icing, which, it's kind of all over the place as far as what people are predicting at this point.
Right.
But if we get anywhere near a half inch of ice like they're talking about, we could go without power for quite a while. And so we'll have to come up with we have some game plans that we work from with that when we have that happen. But it could get messy, and, food could be fun, and, housekeeping and some of the normal things that we do could be interesting.
Right.
It's hard to tell what's going to happen yet at this point.
Right.
So we'll just have to see. But
Yeah, but prepping for it, we did already cancel transportation for tomorrow for medical appointments.
Yeah.
We know something's coming, we just don't know to what level, but just for protection for you all and for our staff, we don't need to be on the roads.
no, that's right.
So we already did make that call. The dining team already has some plans in place if we need to
That's
pull a plan there for food tomorrow, all that good stuff. So we're working on it. But we want to remind you, watch 1390 and Care Merge. That's where we give detailed information when we have inclement weather about what changes there are. Also, we may send out a phone tree as well. So
Yeah.
be listening for that. And if you don't get that phone tree, hopefully you'll hear from a neighbor that you had a phone tree and let me know if you didn't get that message. But that's also another way that we communicate with you, just to make sure you know what's going on here and what cancellations and changes.
Yeah, Lisa, we have a tendency to rely more on the phone tree during inclement weather too, just because we know that's the fastest way to get to residents to let them know what's going on. But we also really want you to be very careful tomorrow. If we have no idea whether or not the icing could fall on roads and sidewalks.
Right.
And, some of the worst injuries I have seen have come from residents and staff who have tried to traverse a sidewalk or a parking lot that's iced over. And that ground is really hard. So, if you don't have reason to come out tomorrow,
Right.
Especially if you can see that it's icing up, don't come out tomorrow. Let nature take its course, and then we'll kind of help you deal with that afterwards.
Right.
But
Yep.
just please be safe out there
Yep.
tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Where are we going next, Lisa?
Okay, we're going to questions, which,
Okay.
like I said, we've wrapped it into one big old question.
Okay, one big old question.
What's
It's a
happening?
two-parter. It's
It's a
Okay.
6-part question.
first, when will River Landing reopen things? And second, what will we reopen? So it's a pretty big question.
It is.
So we're going to kind of take each area and just share a few general things that we're looking at. And like Tom said, we have not finalized anything yet. Still working through some things. So we're just going to give you some general ideas of what we're looking at. And we will have an official letter come out next week that will share more what we're looking at. But we can start first with timeline, Tom.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
So I think, we have talked about March 1st being a good place to start with starting some of that reopening stuff.
Yep.
March 1st puts us about 20 days past the second vaccination,
Yes.
which is kind of what we keep hearing, 16 to 20 days,
Yep.
14 to
14
20
to 20.
days after the second vaccination. You're going to be at probably your highest level of protection against the COVID virus. So we think March 1st is a good place to start. So what we're going to talk to you all about today is some of the thoughts that we have that we're going to roll out in that March 1st timeframe.
Right.
So I'm excited. I think we've got some good stuff that
Yep.
we're going to start with. We'll keep building on this. I will preface this by saying that the reason we keep talking about the fact that this could change is that just because things change all the time, we never know what the governor's going to throw at us
That's
at this
right.
point.
That's right.
And, for the most part, we're doing our best to try and follow the governor's executive orders, although I will be the first one to say I don't really believe the governor's executive orders should apply to us now, and I'm just only saying that because of the fact that we are now kind of achieved that herd immunity level here, or we will as of March 1st.
Right.
And so, there's, I'm having a lot of discussions with our corporate team about this, and there's a lot of conservatism from our corporate team about this, and so doing my best, and we're doing our best to try and marry up the mental side of this for residents versus the risk side of this.
Right.
So all that preface it to say that, this will continue to change as we go along, but there are some things we know we can do right away that I think is going to bring some extra enjoyment for our residents.
Absolutely.
And so I'm very excited about where we're going to head in this direction. So
And before we get into some of the changes, I want to thank the Resident Council.
yes.
They've been a good advisory group for us, and we met with them this morning just to talk through some things. So thank you all on council, and just know as a resident body, your council is just a great representative of you all, and really are looking out for your all's best interest as well.
Yeah.
So they're really a good support to us on this.
Yeah, and I like the fact that I wasn't too far off in my thinking about where the residents are. That council kind of confirmed for us
Absolutely.
that residents are ready to start moving
Absolutely,
forward as well.
and helped us with some other areas. So
It
it really was good. So thank you for that.
So yeah, it was very confirming today to talk to the council. So you're right, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that.
One of the big things, we all want changes in dining, Tom.
Dining.
Dining is a big deal.
They're tired of eating with their spouses. They're tired of eating by themselves.
I can't imagine that.
And, after a week and a half in quarantine, I get that. I mean, I really do get that. So
You'd like to have some other people to visit with. So March 1st, don't forget, that's what we're talking about. I know last week we mentioned maybe this coming Monday.
Yeah.
So that's why I do want to address that. We are now talking March 1st. We felt it was too early to pull the trigger yet this coming Monday. We want to have us at our fullest vaccination potential.
that, and also just being totally upfront with residents. We thought what we would do next week, we would change it somewhat again the following week, and we just thought that's just too
Could get
much.
confusing.
Let's just push everything back one more week and just have it all start at the same time then this way, right? So.
Yep. So as of March 1st, you will be able to dine with other people outside your household.
Yay!
Woo!
And
here's the biggie. Drum roll. Come on, Ken. Drum roll. You can have a table up to 6 people.
6 people.
Bring back the 6 tops.
6 tops are coming back.
The 6 tops are coming back.
So are the 6-packs.
Oh, so we feel that's very exciting, and
Yeah.
we really have had tons of you begging for that and asking, please, please, please.
Right.
So March 1st, it's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, it's going to be
coming.
great. It's going to be really exciting to be able to have
Yep.
that. Another exciting thing that we're going to really, and I'm actually more excited about this one, to be honest
Okay.
with you, because I just think it's kind of cool, because we haven't even been able to go anywhere near this in the last year, but
You're right.
we are going to put our tables and chairs and booths out for our bistro, and we are going to reopen the seating portion of the bistro as of March 1st. So really exciting. Now,
Yes.
remember, we're still trying to follow the governor's executive orders until we are told that we're exempt from it.
That's right.
We're still trying to follow that as much as we can, or as best we can. So we're still limited as far as how many can eat in there.
Right,
But
right.
still, we
Yep.
want that to be a possibility for folks to be able to dine
Absolutely.
in there.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's very exciting that we're
It
going to go
is
back.
exciting.
It'll be almost a year. Can you
I
believe this?
know, I
When-
know.
When we reopened the bistro to when we closed it, as far
Yep.
as this, the
Yep.
eat-in, so.
Yeah, the renovation didn't take that long, did it?
No, it didn't.
No,
God.
No, it
no,
didn't.
you're right.
Yeah.
No.
And you know what we keep hearing about the bistro is that always was that casual place.
Yeah.
You could grab something to eat and then go sit with whoever you wanted.
Yeah.
You didn't have to make reservations.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of this too. And we'll make sure it's set up so there's good spacing, and seats are available, and you just come on in, grab your food, have a seat if a seat's available.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
Yeah. And, this still goes without saying that, you can choose to eat with somebody there, or you can choose
That's
to
right.
not. do
That's
that.
right. That's
just
right.
because we're opening these things up doesn't mean you have
No,
to do
no,
that.
personal
If
choice.
you're not comfortable with that yet, then you don't have to do that.
Sure.
We're starting to free it up though, so that you have this availability and this capability of being able to do
Yep,
this. So,
yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, the Deep River Coffee and Creamery.
Yes.
You could eat your ice cream and have your coffee there.
Now,
And have your
Is there
pastry.
going to be a limit on how much ice cream you can have? Has
No
the governor
limits,
ordered that?
Ken. No limits
Oh, that is
here.
great.
So you're safe.
Okay.
That gallon that you eat every day, you're
Yeah.
fine.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
It's actually going to be nice to go down to the bistro and see people actually
It is.
eating ice cream or having a Danish
I agree.
or a cup of coffee or whatever and sitting back
Yep,
in the couch.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another biggie. At lunchtime, you know right now you have to make reservations at lunch and dinner. Well, at lunchtime, we're going to remove the reservation requirement.
Yes.
So you will be able to walk into the water's edge or the overlook up in the clubhouse without a reservation at lunch only. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
That is very exciting. So we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah.
You all know we do reservations for a couple reasons. It helps us with making sure we have the right amount of tables and spacing. But it also helps us control the numbers coming in at once and being able to provide you a quality service as well.
That's right.
If 100 of you came at 5 o'clock, it probably wouldn't go well. So it does help us with that.
It does.
But at lunchtime, we feel comfortable that we can open it up now without reservations. So I think that's an exciting move.
Yeah, that's going to be really nice too, I think. Just not having to make reservations for lunch and only having to make reservations for dinner that's
Yes.
going to make it a lot
That's a
easier
big
for our
step.
residents.
Absolutely.
So
And you don't have any reservations about that?
we
Okay, just checking.
we don't, Ken. Thank
Okay,
you
good.
for asking that. Too, so.
Oh, the Hilltop Pub.
Yes.
We might see it used more like a pub now.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Yeah.
we're still working on some details on that.
We are.
So-
I think at a minimum we'll probably bring back the bar stools
Yep,
at this
yep.
point. And, I think residents who maybe have a reservation up there, if they want to come up early and grab a drink, they'll be able
Yep.
to do that.
Hang out in the pub area,
Yeah.
wait for your table.
We're still trying to figure out
So-
exactly how to do the tables in
Right.
the Hilltop Pub because we've been using those tables for
For
the
dining as well.
So,
Right.
we still have to kind of play with that a
Yep.
little bit and figure
Yep.
that out. But at a minimum, I think we can put the bar stools back.
Absolutely.
And people can go up there and be able to get a drink before
Right,
they go
right.
have dinner or whatever. And so
Yeah.
we'll see
Yeah.
how that goes.
Yep.
That one's another one of those ones we still got to massage that one a
Right,
little bit.
right.
So.
We do. Okay, in wellness. We're going to be able to offer some more group exercise classes. We have had all of our outside instructors vaccinated.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That was one of the good reasons that we looked at with our extra doses, vaccinating people that really are exposed to our population here, and instructors was one of those.
Yeah.
So we feel very comfortable opening that back up again.
Yeah, so that'll be a gradual increase as
It
well
will.
as we go along.
Limited numbers, of course.
Yes, for now, hopefully.
Yep.
We can get away from that at some point here.
Yep.
But, we obviously want to do this safely. So however we can do that safely, we will. But I think, just being able for residents to be able to participate in group exercise activities will be great.
Absolutely.
And, Jill's done a great job. I
Yes.
don't want to take away
Yes.
anything that she has done.
No.
She's done a great job with, doing the classes from here and
Right,
just
right.
doing various classes. But, I think the wellness team would love to have our outside instructors
Absolutely.
coming back and helping out and doing.
Because Jill and Whitney, they're just one person. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have those extra faces and
Jill and
extra
Whitney
hands
are
here.
one person?
Well,
They're,
That's amazing.
they're each one person.
Some
only if
people have
they-
suggested Billy Bob and I are one person. But that's,
Well,
I know that's
I-
not true.
Well, Jill and Whitney are one person when they zoom in together, I think. So.
Oh,
So we'll have more about the classes and instructors and all that for the
yeah,
Wellness Center.
absolutely.
So, Lisa, we didn't talk about this here, but I think we need to talk just a second about
Sure.
this. I know a lot of residents are asking, are we going to be able to get away from masks yet in the Wellness Center? And we're going to put out a statement about that. Technically, the governor's order still is a requirement for masks there. So, we're pushing hard to try and get around this, quite honestly, because we feel like that this would be, we know this. We have residents that have told us they cannot go in and exercise now because
Right.
they can't wear a mask and exercise. And we know that. So we're trying our best to kind of work around this as best we can.
Yep.
So this is another one that's maybe in the making. For now, I think we have to follow the governor's orders, and it is a recommendation that that you wear a mask in there. But we'll keep working on that
Yep.
one a little bit. So
Okay, housekeeping. So we have been saying
yep.
that we require that you not be in your home or interacting with the housekeepers when they're there. So that either means you come out of your home or you go in a room, stay there, and they just don't clean that space. So we're changing the word requiring to suggesting. I know it's all in wording. So it's a personal decision that you have to make as a resident. If you want to be there or not, but we are suggesting.
Yeah. So we've talked to Joe Rojas probably several times in the last couple of days about this, and we have been pretty tough with our staff about saying you're not allowed to go into that apartment or that cottage if the resident is in there or not in a room isolated from
right.
you. And
For
so
safety. I mean, that was done.
I still think
yeah.
that would be a safe way to operate, and we're going to suggest that that's the way you do it. But Joe is understanding, and he's going to talk to his staff, and if you really have a desire that you want to stay in there,
Sure.
we're not going to refuse to clean your
Right.
home then at that
Right.
point. So.
Right. That won't be till March 1st, though.
No, that's right. It's not
Yeah.
next week.
That's
It's March
March
1st.
1st.
We're talking about the Monday after next Monday.
Yeah.
So just, thank you for
Yeah.
saying that, because I'm afraid
Yeah.
people were
I
going to
know.
start doing it next week.
We just want to
so,
keep re-emphasizing that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Marketing and sales.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So you all know that we've been doing what we call limited tours at this point. So we're going to bump that up a little bit to being a little bit more of not a limited tour, but more of a partially full tour. Whatever that means, right? And when I think about full tour, I think about prospects that are coming in that are eating in our dining rooms and using our the dining rooms is the main thing, that they eat with other residents in the dining room. And so we're not going there yet with that. But we are going to step it up at least another level where the prospective residents can come in and we can do the full tours. And we're not trying to circumvent them into certain areas and out of certain areas. And, it's going to be a regular tour
Sure.
now. We're just
Sure.
not going to add the dining portion to it. So we're going to move in that direction with this. And then
New residents.
new residents, thank you. With new residents coming in, the niceness was we were able to get a lot of our folks that are having plans to move into the community in the next 6 months. We were able to offer them, and a lot of them took us up on it, to be able to get vaccinated here. And so, a lot of our folks coming in are already going to be vaccinated. And so if they are vaccinated and past that 14 to 20-day period where that we know that they're fully vaccinated, then we are not going to require them to quarantine at that point.
Because they'll be the same then
They'll
as
be
our
the same as
current
our residents here
Right.
at this point,
Right.
so there won't be a reason to do that. For now, any non-vaccinated residents that want to come in, we will still do some sort of quarantine with them. But the big change here is for the vaccinated folks
Right.
coming in.
Right.
And most of the folks that are looking to come in here are getting the vaccinations,
Right.
just
They
like
are.
you all did. And it was
They are.
98% of our residents chose to do it, and
Yes.
I haven't heard of one yet that hasn't either gotten it or
Me
has
either.
gotten it from us or gotten it,
Yep,
period.
absolutely.
So that'll be good.
Okay, resident services, looking at offering more activities, limited numbers due to space, so it just will depend on what space we're using, but just be watching your March and Compass. That will outline some activities that we're going to branch into.
Yeah.
So maybe some more entertainment opportunities, things like that.
Yeah,
So-
and I think there's a hope that at some point we could start utilizing the multipurpose room a little bit more again for
Yep.
live activities.
Yep.
Things like bingo, it'd be nice to have live audience
Absolutely.
for that as well.
Absolutely.
And
The
we're not
classroom.
saying that's going to start March 1st, but we are working towards that.
Yep.
We still have a governor's order that we've got to try and work through at this point. But we are going to try and work through that and see if we can't start that. But we would love to be able to start providing some more live entertainment here that you all wouldn't necessarily just have to watch from TV.
Right.
You could actually
Right.
come in and watch from the multipurpose
Right.
room. So, as we figure that stuff out, we will let you know that. But
Yep.
hopefully that's coming soon.
And also just like we used to do, so we're trying to go back to some of the things we used to do. If you wanted to reserve a space here for a small event, you go through resident services on that. So that's just a good reminder to new folks as well. That's how we would reserve spaces here, is you go through resident services. So
Now-
Cindy or Brian.
Now, you're talking about like for resident events, not
Right.
so much from
Right.
having folks from
Resident
outside
activities.
coming in, right?
Yep.
So
If somebody wanted to play a certain game with someone or
Yeah.
things like that, they would go through
that's
Cindy.
correct.
Cindy and Brian. Also, just on the line of, we talked a little bit there about broadcasting. So one good thing with our new system, which I'm so thankful now that we have this system, we will continue to broadcast a lot of our programs. Even when we get to a point someday when we can do live in-person things, we are still going to plan on broadcasting most of them.
Yeah.
Just because that's another reason we put in the system, is to be able to have everyone access programs that we have. It's been a huge help to folks in healthcare.
Yeah.
They've been able to watch our program that we do here. They have not had the luxury of even being able to come out of their rooms to
Right.
be able to watch things or do things. So we will continue to use this broadcast system as well. And I know Wellness also plans on continuing to have some broadcasting with the wellness classes as well. So it's a good thing.
Even without COVID, when we moved in the new residents into the new
Right.
cottages and to the new apartments, we recognized that we had more residents than we can comfortably seat here in the multipurpose room. So we knew that we were going to be getting to a point where we were going to have to broadcast this anyway, just to be able to get that entertainment out to the
Right.
masses at this point. So COVID has helped us to push that along.
has.
There's no
It
question
has.
about that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to think about positive about COVID, the COVID has forced us
Right.
into this role a lot earlier than we thought we would be, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a good thing. And yes, so this is going to be a little bit of we've had some foreshadowing for the future with
Right,
the
right.
broadcasting.
And a lot of folks, it's just more convenient to watch from home.
Yeah,
Watching
exactly.
from your couch, it's sometimes more convenient, or your recliner. So,
right.
so we get that, and we're going to continue doing things like that. Visitation. It's a work in progress.
Before you get to visitations, I think with the smaller group things, going back to talking to Cindy and Brian about small group type things, events, we're still not going to be allowing any kind of catering at this point for
Right,
any of that. I
right.
want to make sure that we make that pretty clear. So if you have a group that meets and you typically had, coffees and different things brought up, we're not doing that yet.
Right.
We can talk about doing the meetings, but we're not going to try and do any of the catering type
Right,
part of it
right,
first. So.
absolutely. So visitation, Tom.
Oh,
It's a
visitation.
work in progress.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
just know that we do want to make changes there.
Yeah.
So that's for sure. It's just how far we can go with it safely.
Yeah.
So we're looking at, numbers of visitors. We're looking at ages of visitors. Right now, we have 5 and under can't come here,
in,
so that knocks out some grandkids. So
Yeah.
we're also looking at overnight options. So just know we're working on that.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have more information that can come out here soon.
Yeah, this is one of those areas that I think I'm working more on with our corporate team than we are as far as limitations from the state at this point.
Right.
So, some of it also is a taxing of our security system at the front gate, and two visitors for each resident. When you think about how many people that could be, that's a lot of people to screen and temp check and all that, and going to 4 is going to create more of a potential bottleneck at the front. So we have to look at all that, but all that to say is we think that we have some ways that we can maybe be able to soften that a little bit, to be able to have a few more people coming in at one time, and to be able to maybe allow for an overnight stay or a couple nights overnight stay, nothing long-term, but we know that we have residents that have family members that would love to come visit and spend a weekend with them.
And maybe they're driving 3-4 hours.
Yeah,
really,
or maybe longer even.
Yes,
so,
yes.
So we get that.
we
We
do.
understand that.
We do.
So, that's something that we're going to keep working towards. And so that may not start as of March 1st, but we're working towards some of that to see if we can get some of that going pretty fast here.
Let's see. Another big one, resident travel. We've had a lot of questions about travel, Tom.
Yeah.
I know folks are ready to head out there and go. So we get that. So we're going to be asking, this is going to come out in the memo, that anybody that has or is starting to look at travel plans, run everything past Cindy.
Yeah.
So just run your plans through Cindy, because the question comes out, quarantine, not quarantine, what are the new travel protocols, all those kind of things. And some of it just might depend where you're going. If you're going to an area, maybe it's South Africa that has the variants, right? We need to look at that
First of all,
situation.
we suggest you don't go. But second of all, we do need to look.
We just need to really think through some of that.
So, what areas are going to be safe for you to travel to? I mean, the local stuff that you're doing, going down to the beach, going to the mountains.
Right.
You know what? We're not going to have a problem with that.
Right,
I'm just saying that up front. Now, do we still want to know that? It'd be nice to know that. It'd be nice to give Cindy a heads up, if nothing else.
Sure.
But, we're not going to stop you from doing that, or even quarantine you for doing that at this point. So, I think it's more still the out of the way places. When you have to use mass transportation.
Okay. So what Tom was talking about, his microphone kind of went out on us here, so we're changing the battery. So when you're using public transportation, so let's say you're going to a destination via plane, train, a cruise ship, things like that. We just want to walk through plans like that. So that's something, we're just slowly trying to come out of the pandemic here, and that's one thing we still want to be careful with is travel at this point, because we know once you leave the bubble here, the river landing bubble, it's just a little different. So we just want to be careful on this and really tread into travel safely. So that's where we're at.
Thank you, Michelle. Testing 1, 2. Okay, that's good. So, I liken it as a snow globe. Now, I think. If you remember those little globes, the snow globes, so where you got the protective bubble, that's kind of how we are now, I think. So, we're going to look at things that from a snow globe standpoint as it relates to river landing and then everything outside. But the travel does end up giving a little bit more of a heartache because we've got to figure out whether or not that's going to be an issue. And the big thing there is whether or not you have to quarantine when you come back. And so I'm say this, we really want to get away from having to quarantine residents. I really want to get away from that. So, but there may be some extreme circumstances from a travel standpoint that we need to ask you to quarantine.
International travel still may be
international
an
travel is
issue,
still risky.
Things
so,
like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll see.
That kind of leads into the COVID-19 exposures we talked about last week, what the CDC came out with.
Yes.
That quarantines aren't required now if
Right.
you're exposed to someone with COVID-19. that's been positive for it.
As long as you've been vaccinated.
Exactly. Fully
And
vaccinated.
Fully
That's the
vaccinated and
key.
through that.
Yes.
You know, I'll just give another prime example of that. My wife, actually, of all days, tomorrow she's having surgery. So trying to get to the hospital tomorrow for surgery should be very interesting with all the weather.
Wow.
But we had to go for a pre-surgical visit, and it was interesting because they did a COVID test on her, and they had told her that if it had been a week later,
Because she'd gotten the second
because she had gotten the second
Yeah.
vaccination, that they wouldn't have even tested her at that point.
Right,
So I think that just goes to show you the value of the vaccinations, which we all know, and
Absolutely.
we know that this is a really good thing for us. It's going to start kind of freeing us up
It
from some of
is.
these restrictions and this hand-holding that keeps
Right,
going on.
right.
So
Yep,
good stuff.
absolutely.
And we're so glad that the CDC recognizes that,
that.
right? Because
Yes.
prior to that, there wasn't anything out there that said that anything could change with vaccinations.
Right,
And
right.
so we're hoping there'll be a lot more guidance coming out here shortly that will start freeing it up even more for us, so.
And I think one last thing we want to just talk about one more time, mask use, using our masks, and also when we're out in public, that means outside of our bubble. So the masks, at this point, we are going to be saying when you step outside your home, in the common areas, you are going to have a mask on. So that part isn't changing right now.
No, it's not.
Right now, it's
Just
not.
just for now, it's not.
Yep,
Now,
yep.
I do think that at some point, fairly quickly, we can get away from that. At least I'm hoping.
Yep,
But
yep.
right now, we're still saying, when you're in our common space areas,
Right.
we want you to be wearing your masks
Right.
for now.
And when you are going off campus, because we know that's going to start happening more too, just remember that it's not the bubble out there anymore. So now
Right.
you're around people that I'd say the majority are not vaccinated. Wouldn't you think that's fair to say?
Yeah,
I
at
mean,
this point, yes, unfortunately, yeah.
Majority are not. So just be aware of that and following the 3 W's, everything that we've been preaching for a year now. It's still smart to do that, even though you're vaccinated, which that's super.
Yeah,
I mean, that is. You can't do any better than that.
Right.
So, but still, just be aware of that.
yeah.
So.
You know, the hard part here is knowing what to tell you and what not to tell you now that you're vaccinated. Because, you know, we don't want our residents to be at risk, but also
Right,
we don't
right.
want you to feel like that we're clamping a hand down on you,
Right.
keeping you from doing things either. So
So just be careful.
just be careful. If you're going to be out there, and I'm going to share this example. You know, we were talking to this about counsel, and that is somebody was suggesting, or saying, you know, is it okay for me to go to a restaurant with a couple of friends? And the answer to that is yes, it is okay for you to do that. Do we want you to be careful? Do we want you to try and still do as much as you can, the safe distancing and, you know, trying not to go to a really crowded restaurant and all that kind of stuff? Well, yeah, that would be a good advice, but you know what? The vaccinations have given us an opportunity to be able to go back to doing some of the things that we had before. And, you know, quite honestly, we just don't know with the variants out there. We don't know how long this is going to last. I mean, things could change again. And so, you know, we want you to have an opportunity to be able to, now that you've had the vaccinations, to be able to kind of start being able to do some things again that you weren't able to do for the last year. So, so just remember caution there. And
Right.
caution's really the key here.
Yep,
So.
absolutely. And still really wait for some of that until we're fully vaccinated. We're close.
Yeah.
Another week.
Thank you. Yeah, March 1st. We're still talking about after March
Yeah.
1st.
Yeah.
So if any of you said, oh my gosh, Tom just told us we can go to a restaurant. So after March 1st, okay, make sure you're fully vaccinated, fully immunized at that point, so,
Gives you your
know.
best
And
protection.
I'm not suggesting you go to a restaurant for every night for the next 7 or 10 days at this point, you know. I'm talking about, you know, just to be able to go out and do it.
Exactly.
It was funny because I was mentioning that I needed to take my wife out because she's been going cabin crazy.
About a year.
And after the surgery tomorrow, she's probably going to need it sometime, you know, after March 1st to be able to go out. And it was funny, one of our council members said that that they owed for Valentine's Day, they owed for birthday, anniversary, and so there was a lot of dinners that they could put into one
Yes.
dinner and go out with if that was the case.
Yes,
So.
and I said you better pick a really good restaurant.
must be a good
You got
restaurant,
a lot
yeah.
of making up to do.
Yeah, right, exactly. So.
Oh.
And if you can't remember March 1st, just think, when could I go outside in my Speedo? And that's going to be about the right If you wait until you can go outside in your Speedo, that's going to be about right.
That might be May.
Well, yeah, that's...
I don't know about March 1st. That'd be a little cold.
I'm not so
Some of us like
sure.
the polar plunge.
I'm not so sure there's ever a time when you should be going out in your Speedo, to be quite honest with you.
That's true.
Yes.
Don't.
I know I would never be caught dead in a Speedo, that's for sure. Nobody would want to see me caught dead in a Speedo either, for that matter, so.
Oh. Okay.
So did we do it, Lisa?
I think that's about what we
Yeah.
can share at this point. There'll be more.
There will be more.
More details. It just, right now, that's kind of a general overview, because like I said, we're still working on it.
Yeah, and I'm going to repeat for just the sake of repeating that, if we can get if we can make some ground as far as the governor's orders and work around that, if we can get some sort of variance from them,
Yep.
that'll change some things that we're doing for sure. And, quite honestly, I'm also hoping that, as our statistics keep dropping, if they keep dropping, the governor himself might even go ahead and start relenting on the orders for outside of River Landing, not just,
That's
for
true.
things for us.
That's true.
So that's always a hope, and I'm sure that they're very pleased, the state's very pleased with the direction that we've been going in the last several months here. So, excuse me, the last couple of weeks here.
Yep.
So, good stuff.
Spring's on its way.
So
Yes.
if you have any questions about this, Michelle is your person. You already know her phone number, and she'd be glad, right, Michelle?
336-389.
But she's only going to take the first caller.
She's only going to take the
there
first
you go.
caller, that's right.
One call.
So if you do have questions, obviously, send them to us. We'll do our best to try and answer them. I'm sure by the stuff we presented, there's going to present more questions that are going to come along with us. Can we do this? Can we do that?
Yes.
And so send them to us. We'll do our best to answer you. Even try and put them on our show next week if we need to kind of help further clarify. But please, the last thing is to remember, March 1st. This doesn't go into effect until March 1st, and we'll have a letter going out at the beginning of next week that'll talk about all of this. So maybe you might want to hold off on your questions until you actually get the letter next
That's
week.
true. That's a good.
Because I think the letter will have, probably even do a little bit more explanation.
I think so too.
So.
Yep. It'll probably answer a lot.
Yep. Okay. Ken, I think we're to you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, some funnies to end the day.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Some
Yeah.
fun.
Uh-oh.
We just lost.
Oh,
There it
this
is.
first one says, good moms let you lick the beaters. Great moms turn them off first. I was trying to imagine that, actually.
Oh my gosh.
I've
that's
tried to do
good.
that before. It's not
pleasant, yeah.
good.
All right. Whoops, let me make sure my clicker's on here.
Put your clicker on.
So a burglar broke into the house. I put the red dot on his chest, and the cat did the rest. I've heard that cats really love those laser
They do.
lights. Yeah, they go
They
kind of
do.
crazy with them. Yeah.
Yes.
I may have to. Well, I'd have to get a cat and a laser.
Thanks for explaining that, because I didn't know what that was, Ben.
Yes, they will kind of claw at it and stuff.
Yes.
We've talked about being careful with signs before. Here's one from Days Inn. I don't know if you can read it, but it says 32-inch HD TV, eggs, waffles, biscuits, and gravy hot tub. And man, I want to try that gravy hot tub.
Yeah, I would want to be the first one in it, though.
I wouldn't want to be the last one.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Stopped by a roadside stand that said lobster tails $2. I paid my $2, and he says, once upon a time, there was this lobster.
Wait a minute, that's spelled wrong. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I know. They spelled it wrong
yeah,
so you wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
How about this one? Whoops. Went by too far.
There you go.
English teacher, give me the opposite of this sentence. Children in the dark make mistakes. Student, mistakes in the dark make children. Yeah. These are all from Alan Campbell if you have any problems.
Now that's a classic.
Yep. How to keep all the cookies to yourself. Now, this is a great idea,
Oh my
I think.
gosh, that's good.
Make the
Take a bite
cookies
out
with
of
that
each one.
tin and put them in
Yes.
there, yeah. Of course, it wouldn't work at my house. My kids would eat things that ever...
They don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's pretty clever though.
It is. Okay, this next one, I don't know if you can see it, but the wife is holding a gun, and it says, remember when you were young and you saw that old man and said, if I ever try to leave the house dressed like that, shoot me?
Yeah.
Okay, she's serious. I love this one. If you're happy and you know it, it's your meds. If you're happy and you know it, it's your meds. If you're happy and you know it, then the lab will surely show it.
Oh, that's great.
Yep. My wife asked if she could have a little peace and quiet while she cooked dinner, so I took the battery out of the smoke alarm.
Oh.
That's pretty bad.
I like that too.
Now, we have some warped sense of humor.
Yes,
around
we
here.
do.
Yeah,
Yes.
or otherwise I wouldn't get this.
That's
You're
it.
right. You're
Yep.
right.
I think COVID has done it to us.
Yep. I think it was before COVID.
Okay,
Maybe
this
right.
says, Edna would have been so pleased. She loved Tupperware.
Oh my God.
I know. Oh, you're like, this is the last one. Waiter, how do you like your steak, sir? Man, like winning an argument with my wife. Waiter, rare it is.
That's good too.
That's awesome.
Those were good ones.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
good stuff. Thank you for sharing
Lots of
that.
fun, yes.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yep.
Not as fun as March 1st, though.
No, March
No,
1st. March
you're
1st.
Right. You're right.
Okay, Lisa, what do we got?
Okay,
Birthdays for today, right?
birthdays. So Monday we had Dick Vaughn and Faye Simmons.
Okay.
Tuesday we had Mary Gerald and Jan Kuntz. Today we have Margaret Wilson. Thursday we have Jim Landon, Donna Hollis, and Mary Hester. And Friday we have Joe Mezzapelli and Tom Rice. Saturday we have Eleanor Jakovitz, Ray Joan Burgess, and Jay Lee Goodson. And Jay Lee, he's going to be 90.
Wow.
That's a special birthday. Sunday is Bob Stroud, Shirley Nolan, Jackie Mowat, and Jim Potmeyer, and Diane Page.
Wow.
So,
Sunday
a lot of
is a
birthdays
popular
Sunday.
birthday, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow, look at that.
And then for staff members today, we have Keith Ingram in nursing. Thursday, tomorrow, is our wonderful dining director, Joseph Burdett.
Yeah, and if you go looking for him, he won't be here.
He won't. He took his birthday
He
off.
took his birthday off, yes.
And Lauren Frazier in nursing. Saturday is Dorothy Williams in dining.
Yeah.
So a lot
Happy
of good
birthday.
birthdays.
Wow, that's a lot of
Yeah.
birthdays, isn't it? Holy
Yep.
smokes. Sure is. That's awesome. Okay, do we have I assume we have a trivia winner for today.
We do, yes. Okay, the question today was, what musical instrument did Sherlock Holmes play? And the answer is violin. It is mentioned in many of his stories, such as The Adventure of the Cardboard Box. So the winner today that receives the bottle of wine is Howie Zeifel.
Oh,
So
very good.
congratulations,
And
Howie.
Howie, we didn't drink it.
No,
So
we
you're
didn't.
good.
We didn't. It's fully intact.
That's awesome.
It is a twist off, though, so just know. Next week, River Churns will be back on Wednesday again,
Yes.
so we're set with that.
We'll probably be answering a lot of questions about opening
I'm
again.
sure we will. I'm sure we will.
And probably have it tweaked by then pretty good.
Yes,
So.
yes, absolutely.
Wow, okay. Great show. We're
Look
coming
at-
up on an hour here,
We
so
kept it to an hour.
yeah.
It's pretty good.
We kept Ken, Ken was the long portion of this meeting, this
Yes.
show, so we
That
kept
Ken.
you kept you down
Prolonged
to.
it.
So there wasn't any facial expressions from
Not
you,
this
Ken, this
time.
time. So
Nope, nope.
that was great.
Yeah.
Well, again, please be safe tomorrow as we see what the weather is going to bring, especially if it's ice. And ice can be hard to see, so please be careful tomorrow. I would hate for anybody to have to go out to the emergency room because of a fall. So please be careful. We'll keep you informed about where we are with what we're doing and our plans. If we have significant icing or issues tomorrow, we'll be updating you on a regular basis. So we hope you, in the meantime, you have a great evening. Enjoy that sunshine that's out there. It's nice to see the sun out there for a change, isn't it? So
Yes, it is.
hopefully that'll dry up the ground a little bit here before we get to this wet weather that's coming tonight. So we love you all. We hope you have a great evening.